Colleen, I'm so excited that we're getting to have this conversation right now because I have so many questions, first of all. I'm a psychotherapist.
No pressure.
No pressure. That's right. Solve all these things.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things I noticed in my life is that depending on the season of life I'm going through, I can have higher or lower levels of mental health and wellness. So I'm having some highs, having lows. You know, one of the things so many people struggle with, for example, is seasonal affective disorder, where we have a low in the winter and then we start to feel better. But what are some of the things that contribute to our mental health lows and highs?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing that we want to recognize is that's a part of our life journey, highs and lows. And we need to anticipate and expect that we are going to have great days, but we're also going to have days that are kind of low, and that's normal. You know, it's normal. And then the thing to empower us is to actually begin to think, okay, what are the things that are contributing to when I'm feeling low and maybe exacerbating those low days? And what are the things that have contributed to higher days where things have, you know, the sun is shining a little bit brighter. We just feel, you know, you just wake up on the right side of the bed. What are the factors that contribute to that? Because you have the power to kind of foster more of that, right?
Yeah.
So take stress, for example.
Okay.
Stress could be, you could be stressed about something good happening. You could be, let's say, dealing with chronic stress. You have the power to figure out, okay, am I not addressing the stressors in my life? Can I be doing something different to manage my stress better? Yeah. And that can help to enhance your mental health. Another thing that maybe it might seem like you don't have a lot of control over is your biology. So let's say you are predisposed, like in your heredity, in your, you know, if you look at your family history, there is, you know, many experiences of mental illness. It's important to know that information. Like, do you actually know your family history? Because if you do know, and if you see like depression seems to be something that my grandmother, my mother, you know, now I am experiencing, what are the things that I could be doing before I get into a depressive sort of episode to really, you know, optimize my mental health and take good care of myself.
Yeah. And that's so good because we can be proactive in seasons when we know our mental health is going to dip, if we can tell that's happening and it's going to come.
Yeah.
One of the things when, you know, I think about you mentioning, you know, maybe our family members being honest about their mental health challenges, but we kind of know that in previous generations, it's not something people spoke about a lot.
That's right.
Which is actually incredibly painful for the generations that had to go through that because they couldn't talk about what they were experiencing. They don't feel this permission to be able to do that. That secrecy of hiding our mental health battles, how does that impact the journey?
It's a real thing. It's a real thing. And it's shaming, you know. This is why what we're doing right now is so important. You know, this is why one of my areas of passion is encouraging leaders. You know, the ones that kind of, what do you call the gatekeepers, you know, the ones that have platform to talk about their experiences with mental health, whether it be challenges or, you know, things that they've come through, because it just normalizes the experience for us all. You realize, oh my goodness, this is just a part of the journey of life. We're going to have struggles, but we have to, you know, we have to, well, we don't have to, but I think for individuals like myself, individuals who have come through, I just challenge us to take that on, to say we've got to spread the word. We've got to not be silent. It's hard sometimes. I come from a West Indian family, and you're not really supposed, I didn't even know my mother's age, okay, until like I got a hold of like her birth certificate or her, you know, like one of those documents, because we just didn't talk about those kinds of things. It's just sort of like, you've got your business and then you keep it from the world, but that is so detrimental in so many ways, and in particular with our mental health and wellness.
Oh, it certainly is. That's such a good word there. And I think even for our viewers watching, to be reminded that if they do have a mental health challenge in their family, family historically that they could share with the next generation to
Yes.
equip them
Do it.
to know. And here's the things I did, and here's what we can do to press in.
Yeah.
And speaking of things we can do, what can we do when we're in a season of lower mental health and we catch it and we're like, okay, we're here in the valley. You know, the Bible, all the Psalms, when David was in the valley kind of emotionally, we know we can be honest with God about that.
Yeah.
But what can we do practically when we find ourselves in a season of low mental health?
Yes. So one of the things that we want to be thinking about is, what are the rhythms and the flows of my life? Am I getting enough sleep? Am I filling my body up with nutritious, nourishment? Am I choosing foods that are going to actually fuel me? Am I moving my body? You'd be surprised how getting out of the house and getting fresh air, the kinds of impact that it has. That kind of gets those feel-good hormones going and putting like a pep in our step. Talking about what is on our mind with a trusted person. It could be a therapist. It could also be a really trusted friend. It could be a mentor, somebody who is able and has capacity to hold our stuff. And of course, praying. The Bible is full of examples of men and women who were honest with God. None of this surprises God, the struggles. This is literally why he sent his son. Literally why he sent his son, because we will struggle.
Amen.
We will have our challenges. And so, although God knows it, there's something that happens when we confess it. There's something that happens when we confess it. And I would encourage us to, just wait on God to bring into our lives the things that we need for the season that we're in.
So many good tips in this conversation, Colleen. Get your body moving, watch what you're eating, find someone you can trust that you can speak with, and turn to God in prayer, knowing that he meets us. It's so insightful. Thank you so much, Colleen, for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, if this moment has encouraged you and reminded you that you are not alone, that God is with you and he loves you so much, no matter what season you're in, no matter what challenge you are having, he wants to equip you and strengthen you, then call our prayer partners at 1-866-273-4444. They can pray with you, be a listening ear, and the calls are anonymous. Well, if this discussion has encouraged you, please look for more conversations with Colleen on our Crossroads streaming platform, www.intothecastle.com.